Expressers, we are back with another episode of a Walk Through the Bible series. Today, we'll be talking about a woman named Deborah. Have you ever heard of her? No? Yes? Need a refresher? Well, take a seat and journey with me for a few minutes. Deborah's story takes place in the book of Judges, which is located in the Old Testament of the Bible. In the time of Judges, there were no kings to rule the nation of Israel. Israel was a nation of people God had chosen for himself who were set apart to obey his word and follow him. They were to be an influence on other nations. But unfortunately, Israel fell into idol worship and sinning against God. So God delivered them into the hands of a Canaanite king called Jael. Despite their disobedience, they cried out to God for help. Now, in comes Deborah. Deborah was a prophet, meaning she spoke on the behalf of God to the people of Israel. She was also the fourth judge of Israel. She is often seen as an uncommon leader because she was a woman. At the time, God mainly appointed men to these positions. Every day she sat under a palm tree, listening to the different issues of the Israelites. Okay, I know you might be envisioning an image of one of them TV shows with the judges hearing outlandish cases. Yep, well, back in those times, I'm sure Deborah was hearing a lot of cases that were in need of sound judgment. God chose her to be his voice, and she ruled well. Deborah was a warrior for God. How so? Check this out. One day, she sent for a warrior named Barak. No, y'all, not our former president. He wasn't born yet. Anyway, she told him she was given instruction from God. The command was that Barak was to take 10,000 men to fight against Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army. Once he did that, God would give Israel the victory over the Canaanite army. Sounds pretty good, right? I mean, if God tells you he's going to do something this great, you would probably be excited to do it. Well, Barak wasn't having it. He told Deborah he ain't going nowhere unless she's riding with him too. Deborah answered him and said, "Very well, I will go with you. But you will receive no honor in this venture, for the Lord's victory over Sisera will be at the hands of a woman." So Deborah and Barak went together to face Jabin's army. Because Deborah was with him, Barak was inspired to fight, and God allowed them to gain the victory. Now that ain't all that happened, y'all. Remember Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army? Well, he fled when he saw all the chaos around him. His army was losing against the Israelites. So he ran to what he thought was a safe place. A woman by the name of Jael, whose husband was friendly with King Jabin, had a tent that Sisera ran into. She welcomed him in, giving him a blanket. He asked for some water because he was so thirsty, so she offered him milk. On guard, he told her to be on the lookout, and if anyone should come asking if anyone is here, she was to tell them no. Now this is where it gets crazy. Sisera was all comfortable and fell asleep. Jael found an opportune time to take a hammer and a tent peg that she had, and she used it to pound through his temple into the ground, killing him. Wow. Later, Barak ended up at the tent looking for Sisera, and Jael showed him where he was. This day marked a piece of history for Israel, where God once again came through on his promise and delivered Israel out the hands of their enemy. In conclusion, I know this read like something out of a movie. But what surprised you about the story of Deborah? What did you learn from her? Also, what about the surprise actions of Jael? Can you see how God used both women to lead his people out of trouble? Let's talk about it in the comments. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Share with others, and once again, catch you on the next one.